Hello, radiant Leo, bold heart, warm soul, and natural light in this world. If you're watching this right now, trust me when I say, it's not a coincidence. This message found you for a reason. God is breaking the silence, and what you're about to hear could protect your energy, shift your path, and unlock the blessings that have been circling just outside your reach. This is not just another horoscope reading. This is a spiritual warning. A divine nudge. A sacred tap on the shoulder from the universe itself. Because between June 25th and June 30th, a major energetic window opens for you, but it's a double-edged sword. If you aren't careful where you go, if you don't intentionally protect your light, you may unknowingly walk into places that seem harmless on the outside, but spiritually and energetically harmful within. That's why in this video, I'm revealing 3 very specific places you must stay away from during this critical period. Places that might look familiar or even friendly, but that could silently drain your light, confuse your path, or delay the abundance already on its way to you. You see, Leo, right now, your energetic frequency is rising. Stronger. Brighter. More magnetic than usual. This is both a blessing and a test. Because when your light gets stronger, the world notices, and so do the shadows. Envious energy, spiritual confusion, and emotional chaos are drawn to you like moths to a flame. And if you walk into the wrong spaces, even for just a moment, you could lose your clarity, your focus, your intuitive power. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a place feeling confident and alive, only to leave feeling drained, foggy, or anxious with no clear reason why? That's not in your head. That's your intuition speaking. That's your soul recognizing what your mind hasn't caught up with yet. And this week, that inner guidance will become more important than ever. From an astrological perspective, we're being influenced by a Virgo waning moon and a powerful Sun-Mercury conjunction in Cancer. This brings a surge in emotional awareness, but it also opens your energetic field to influence both positive and negative. Which means discernment isn't optional. It's spiritual responsibility. Now, before I go deeper into the 3 places you must avoid, let me take a moment to honor you. To thank you. Every time you like, comment, or subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, you're not just supporting this channel, you're anchoring your own spiritual growth. You become part of a conscious community, a soul family dedicated to living with intention, not reaction. And for that, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Please, take a second now and confirm your presence by commenting below. I protect my energy. I walk in divine alignment. That's your declaration. Your alignment. Your moment of anchoring this truth. And trust me, Leo, you'll want to stay with me until the very end. Because what I'm about to share next could explain why certain things in your life haven't flowed the way they should, and how just one shift in awareness could open the door to everything you've been waiting for. Are you ready? Because Spirit has been waiting for you. When your energy rises, dear Leo, it doesn't just illuminate your path, it lights up everything around you, including what's been hidden. This week, the Sun, your ruling planet, is in a dominant phase, radiating intensely through your chart. You are more visible now, more magnetic, more radiant. But that very radiance is also what makes you more exposed. Not just to admiration or opportunities, but also to energies that are unhealed, restless, and seeking warmth that isn't their own. This is not a punishment, it's a natural consequence of standing in your light. From a cosmic perspective, the increase in brightness creates contrast. It's like striking a match in a dark room. Everything becomes clearer, but shadows also appear where you couldn't see them before. When your vibration is high, you're not just attracting aligned opportunities. You're also pulling in what is unresolved in others because your light acts as a mirror. People, places, and energies that have forgotten how to glow on their own might try to draw from your flame. And if you're not discerning, if you're not present with how your body, emotions, and spirit respond in each environment, you may find yourself feeling inexplicably depleted. You might wake up feeling grounded and powerful, but then walk into a room, or a conversation, or even a social scroll and suddenly feel drained, anxious, foggy, or frustrated. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when your field, already open and generous, comes into contact with frequencies that don't harmonize with your current rhythm. It's not about blaming others or labeling spaces as good or bad. It's about recognizing that not every frequency can hold your light right now. And you are not required to dim just to make others feel more comfortable. There's a quiet lesson here, one echoed in ancient teachings, that clarity requires solitude, and power requires protection. Just as a flame must be shielded from the wind to stay strong, your energy must be guarded not with fear, but with intention. Sometimes, the most generous thing you can do is retreat. Not to withdraw from life, but to reconnect with yourself before re-engaging with the world. Your body is wise. So is your fatigue. When you feel off, without knowing why, consider that your energy may be processing something your mind hasn't labeled yet. This is also where the law of attraction deepens beyond cliches. High vibration doesn't mean you only attract beauty. It means you become a stronger magnet, and what you're magnetizing includes both what you desire and what still needs healing. The true mastery lies not in staying positive at all costs, but in being conscious of where you place your light, who you share it with, and what environments deserve access to it. Not everything and everyone does. That realization isn't arrogance, it's awareness. There's a simple truth: even a lion rests. Even the sun sets. You're not meant to burn constantly. You are meant to rise with purpose, rest with wisdom, and move through the world with presence. So if lately you felt unusually tired, unfocused, or like your motivation flickers in and out without reason, pause and ask, what space did I just come from? What energy might I have walked through? Was I shining in a place not meant to reflect me? These questions are not about judgment, they're invitations to come home to yourself. Because not every room is worthy of your presence, and not every silence deserves your roar. Now more than ever, your light is sacred. And what is sacred must be protected, not because it is fragile but because it is rare. Leo, when divine energy begins to stir the air around you, it doesn't always come with thunder and lightning. Sometimes, it arrives as a soft pull, a gentle whisper urging you to step back from the noise. To look more closely at the spaces you've been placing your energy in. And while your heart is generous and your light is vast, not every space is meant to hold what you offer. Right now, that truth matters more than ever. This week, there are 3 kinds of spaces you are being guided to avoid, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. These are not always physical places. They are environments built by energy, by memory, by vibration. And you, Leo, are currently radiating at a level that naturally draws both attention and spiritual gravity. When your frequency rises, you become a living beacon, one that not only draws light but also reveals where darkness still lingers. That is why discernment is your protection. The first space to avoid is one that carries the heavy air of mourning and unresolved sorrow. This may be a funeral home, an old family house weighed down by years of regret, or even a room where someone is silently grieving what they've lost. These spaces often carry the vibration of spiritual stagnation. They echo with stories that haven't yet found closure. When you step into that atmosphere, your own energy field begins to adjust, not to heal, but to match the weight of what surrounds you. And while your intention may be noble, the cost is subtle yet immense. You may find yourself feeling tired for no reason, or as if old sadness has crept back in without knocking. This is not weakness. It is simply your sensitivity waking up. And from the perspective of numerology, this vibration aligns with the shadow of the number 8, the karmic cycle of loss, powerlessness, and unfinished energy. If you must enter such a space, visualize yourself surrounded by soft gold light. Breathe deeply. Stay as briefly as love allows, and return to yourself with intention, not obligation. The second space that demands caution is one wrapped in envy, the quiet, cutting kind that hides behind polite smiles or family expectations. You might feel it at a party, around certain coworkers, or even among relatives who carry unspoken comparison in their gaze. Under the current Mercury retrograde influence touching ancestral and emotional zones, misunderstandings are not just possible, they're almost guaranteed. In these environments, you may not even notice how you begin to shrink yourself to avoid conflict. Or worse, you may begin to doubt your own joy. But you were not born to explain your light. You were born to live it. Avoid giving your inner fire to those who haven't yet kindled their own. Do not discuss your future dreams in rooms where people haven't yet learned to celebrate others. Silence, in this case, is not withdrawal, it's sacred preservation. And finally, the third space is one of chaos, loud, intoxicating, and energetically incoherent. This is not about judging bars or wild gatherings. It's about recognizing where your soul gets drowned out. Think of the reverse tower card. It warns not just of breakdown, but of breaking from within, the kind of spiritual dissonance that makes you question your truth. Chaos has a sound, and once you hear it enough, you stop hearing yourself. So be mindful of gatherings driven by escapism or empty stimulation. Your spirit right now is calling for clarity. And clarity can only thrive where stillness is welcomed. In all three cases, the message is not to isolate, but to choose with intention. Not every space deserves your presence. Not every energy is meant to share breath with yours. And the more you honor that truth, the more the universe opens the right doors, the ones that echo back your light instead of dimming it. After understanding which environments can silently deplete your energy, it's equally vital to recognize the places that nourish, uplift, and multiply your light. Because energy is not just something you protect, it's something you intentionally cultivate. And for Leo, a sign ruled by the sun itself, your vitality is directly connected to where your light is received, reflected, and expanded. Just like a garden, your energy needs the right soil, the right climate, and the right rhythm of presence and rest to thrive. One of the most powerful spaces to restore your essence is found in nature. Not the kind you pass by quickly, but the kind you consciously step into: a forest trail where sunlight spills through branches, a beach where the waves speak without needing language, or even a quiet field kissed by golden afternoon light. These aren't just backdrops for relaxation, they are living, breathing harmonizers. Nature doesn't rush, and it doesn't force. It mirrors the original pace of your being. When you sit among trees, your nervous system remembers what it means to be still without feeling stagnant. When your feet touch the earth, something inside softens, the illusion of control fades, and what's real has space to rise. Artistic environments also play a powerful role in helping your inner fire grow. Whether it's a gallery filled with soulful expression or a small cafe with gentle live music, these are the places where beauty speaks directly to the heart. You don't have to create the art yourself, although you might feel inspired to. Simply being in the presence of creation unlocks something deep inside you. It reminds you that life, too, is a canvas. And that even when the outer world feels chaotic, there is always a rhythm waiting for you to return to it. In such places, your mind relaxes, your emotions find language, and your intuition gently rises to the surface. Then there are the more intentional spaces, rooms designed not just for silence but for conscious inner work. Meditation halls, healing circles, sound baths, or therapeutic classes, these are sacred containers where transformation is not only welcomed but invited. In these environments, you are not asked to perform. You are not expected to prove anything. Your only task is to be. And in that presence, you begin to hear your own energy again. You start to see where you've been leaking, where you've been shrinking, and where you've been craving something that was already within you all along. These spaces become mirrors not of your flaws, but of your potential. Don't overlook the power of your own corner of peace. Maybe it's a reading nook by the window, a cozy room you've decorated with intention, or a familiar spot where the light hits just right in the morning. These domestic sanctuaries might seem small from the outside, but they carry tremendous impact. They are places where your nervous system lets go, where you breathe deeper, where your thoughts soften. And that relaxation, even for 10 minutes, becomes the seed of clarity and inspiration for everything that follows. It's not about grandeur. It's about resonance. And finally, there is the quiet space you create when you are alone, not lonely, but with yourself. When you sit by a window with the light streaming in, or lie on the floor and just breathe, you begin to hear what the world so often drowns out, the sound of your own being. There is a teaching that says wisdom arises when the mind becomes still, like a clear pond, and only then can you see your reflection. That moment doesn't require a temple. It only requires that you return to the present. That you stop chasing, just for a while, and listen. In these chosen spaces, your energy is not just protected, it is remembered, elevated, and return to its natural brilliance. As you begin to shift your energy toward protection and refinement, you also awaken the natural urge to align your external life with your inner clarity. This is where healing becomes practical, not just a feeling, but a decision made again and again in how you love, how you spend, how you create, and how you care for the sacred vessel of your body. Between June 25th and 30th, Leo, your energetic field is more sensitive to interference, but also more capable of realignment. What you choose to nourish now will shape what you magnetize in the weeks ahead. In love, the question is simple but often overlooked. Do you feel expansive or diminished when you're with this person? Not occasionally, not in fleeting highs, but in the quiet in-betweens, the daily undercurrents. If the connection pulls you into self-doubt, if it makes you question your worth or silence your instincts, then perhaps it's not love you're feeling, but attachment disguised as loyalty. Sometimes, the most loving act is not holding on tighter, but stepping back to hear your own voice again. And if you're single, be cautious about seeking validation in noisy places. There's a difference between openness and availability. The energy around you right now is seductive but unstable. Be wary of entering dynamics that feel fast, ungrounded, or fueled by your need to be seen rather than truly known. With money, your energy is your currency. And right now, conserving both is vital. Avoid putting resources, time, money, trust into ideas or people that feel vague, disorganized, or driven by urgency. The truth is, alignment never rushes. The luckiest number for you this week is 888, a symbol of infinite flow, not because everything is always available, but because what is meant for you will return when you honor your value. This is not a week to gamble, but to plant small, intentional seeds that support your future abundance. Every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what will eventually reward you. In your career, the guidance is subtle but crucial. If you're attending a meeting, a networking event, or even a casual conversation that holds professional weight, observe more than you share. Sometimes, shining means knowing when to listen. You can be present without giving away your full essence. You can show up with strength without handing others the map to your soul. Let your work speak for itself, and let your presence be felt without over-explaining it. Real power often moves in silence, not performance. When it comes to health, simplicity is the highest sophistication. Begin your mornings with a warm cup of ginger, lemon, and honey tea, not just as a digestive support, but as a grounding ritual. This combination clears internal stagnation, warms your core, and reminds your body that it's safe to exhale. Take 10 to 15 minutes for deep breathing or a walk barefoot on the grass. This isn't just good for your physical body, it restores your energetic rhythm with the pulse of the earth itself. Like breath meeting breath, your system calibrates when it reconnects with something steady and alive. The common thread in all these areas, love, money, work, and health, is presence. It's not about perfection. It's about asking yourself more often, does this nourish me or deplete me? Am I acting from fear or alignment? And am I choosing from memory, habit, or conscious awareness? These questions don't need quick answers. They need space. And in that space, healing doesn't just begin, it continues. Quietly. Powerfully. Like the sun rising without asking permission. When a message arrives with urgency, it's rarely random. The timing of this moment, this window in your life, is not incidental. You, Leo, are standing at the threshold of something significant. Not dramatic in the outer world perhaps, but deeply transformative in the energy that surrounds you. There's a shift unfolding, a kind of invisible alignment, and what you do now, where you place yourself, and what you allow into your energetic field, will determine whether that shift becomes a breakthrough or a delay. You see, every person walks through cycles of expansion. Some of those cycles open quietly, like a door that creaks open without fanfare. Others are more distinct, the kind that make your body tingle with intuition even before your mind understands why. And right now, for you, the energetic landscape is preparing a new opening. You may not see it with your eyes just yet, but your internal compass is already sensing it. That's why the discomfort has been louder lately. That's why certain places or people have started to feel misaligned, even if nothing has changed on the surface. The external world is catching up to what your energy already knows. And this is why the warning comes now. Because opportunities do not always arrive with flashing lights. Sometimes, they arrive as silence, as inner clarity, as a whisper that says, "Not here. Not now. Not with them." And if you ignore that quiet wisdom, if you continue walking into spaces that conflict with your current vibration, the opening will not close, but it will shift. It will wait for the next version of you that's ready to receive it. There's a teaching that says we cannot carry the mud of old pathways into the temple of what's sacred. What this means in modern terms is that you can't bring habitual distractions, unresolved emotional residue, or external noise into the space where miracles are trying to meet you. Not because you are unworthy, but because those things blur your vision. They cloud your discernment. And you need to be awake to recognize the door when it appears. This is not a call for perfection. This is a call for honesty. For quiet attention. For alignment. Ask yourself gently, what am I calling in right now? What have I been asking for, even in my private moments? Healing, connection, clarity, a shift in direction. Now take a breath and ask, am I positioned to receive it? Are my environments supportive of this version of me? Or am I unconsciously standing in places that echo my past more than my future? One simple practice you can do now is to take out a piece of paper and write down 3 things you truly want to welcome into your life. Be honest. Be clear. Then, ask yourself for each one, am I living in a way that invites this in? Am I moving toward this desire, or am I hoping it will find me while I stay in old patterns? This exercise is not about guilt. It's about illumination. Because when you see where the misalignment is, you also see the adjustment. And sometimes, it's as small as saying no to one invitation, or as sacred as choosing solitude over performance. Divine timing is not about luck, it's about readiness. You are not being asked to do more. You are being asked to be more intentional with what you already carry. And when you clean the space mentally, emotionally, energetically, the miracle doesn't have to fight to reach you. It recognizes the resonance. It knows exactly where to land. Leo, you weren't born to shrink in rooms too small for your spirit. You weren't made to water yourself down just so others don't feel overwhelmed by your fire. You came into this life to embody a light so real, so radiant, that it reminds others of what's possible, not through force, but through truth. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is step back from what dims you. To say no gently but firmly to the places, people, and patterns that can't meet you where you're going. This week's message wasn't about fear. It was about clarity. About remembering that your energy is not infinite if you give it away carelessly. But when you channel it intentionally, it becomes your compass. Avoiding the 3 places we explored isn't just a protective strategy, it's a sacred act of self-respect. Because when you protect your light, you automatically expand it. You raise your frequency, and with it, you raise the standard of what you allow into your space. And so I ask you, if you know you're glowing brighter than ever, where will you allow that glow to reach? Will you shine into places that celebrate you, or into corners that swallow your brilliance and leave you second-guessing your worth? What would happen if you stopped sharing your sacred inner fire with people who never learned how to tend their own? Let that be your reflection as you move forward. The universe, or as we've named it here, your God, is not asking you to be perfect, only to be present. To choose with awareness. To walk through your days asking not, what do others expect of me, but instead, what honors the light I carry today? If any part of you feels the truth of this message, if your chest softened, if your breath slowed, if your soul whispered yes, then you already know what to do next. Your only task is to honor that knowing with action. And if you're ready to make that choice, I invite you to affirm it publicly. Write it in the comments below. Let your words become your declaration. Type, I choose the light. I avoid the dark. Let that be a reminder not only to yourself but to everyone in this beautiful community that you are walking in alignment now and you are not alone. Before we close, I just want to thank you truly for spending this time with me. Your presence here, your energy, your attention, it means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every new subscription brings you deeper into the heart of this space we're building together, eternal mindfulness. And it gives this channel the strength to continue sharing these transformational messages with the people who need them most. So don't forget to like this video if it spoke to you, subscribe if you haven't yet, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the guidance that's waiting for you. Until next time, may you walk in your power, speak with truth, and shine only where your light can grow. Your energy is sacred, Leo, and the world doesn't need you to hide it. It needs you to choose it.